Well, what do you know? Another day and more Harden rumors swirling. Today, though, he posts a cryptic Instagram picture indicating some of his potential plans. We'll break all of it down here on Philly Take with RB.
Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome into the show. Like always, hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Be sure to subscribe and, as always, ring that bell down below. That way you don't miss any of the coverage. Today, we are back, and what do you know? The Harden saga continues. A stare down between Daryl Morey and James Harden. We have some more reports, more rumors on that to update you with. But question for the Sixer Nation out there. Realistically speaking, if the Sixers do not trade James Harden, do you think he should come back to Philadelphia for training camp? Do you think you want him there in the presence of everybody else? Would that be a good idea? Let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll get into all of it. But before we do, shout out to our sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp, the world's online largest therapy service. I'm sure anybody out there listening right now has either gone through a tough mental health experience or knows somebody who has gone through that type of stuff. Personally, I've gone through some pretty rough things over the last couple of years where I was not really feeling well. And, it would have been helpful to reach out to somebody. And I never knew about such an easily accessible outlet like BetterHelp. Just going to therapy, can help you get some things off your chest and, just make you feel more comfortable and just have, that medium where you feel a lot more, comfortable and at ease. So BetterHelp's mission is to make that therapy more affordable, and it makes finding a therapist much easier because it's online and remote. All you have to do is answer a few questions about your needs, and BetterHelp can match you with a professional therapist within a few days. Then you can talk to your therapist via text, chat, phone, or video call, and you can message them at any time. And if your therapist is not the right fit for any reason, you can then switch to a new therapist by not having to stress about insurance. It's completely free, and it is very, very easy. So if you're struggling out there, or you know somebody who is, consider online therapy with BetterHelp and get 10% off of the first month by clicking the link down in the description or going to betterhelp.com/PhillyTake. All right, let's jump right into it, man. So what a past 36 hours it has been for the James Harden train, the James Harden saga, as it continues. And I want to just, start off with a little nugget, right? Let's ease into it because something happened yesterday that I did not get to cover. The Sixers have a new assistant coach. The Dallas Mavericks assistant coach for a short period of time, Brian Gates, who recently accepted a spot on Jason Kidd's staff, is joining the Sixers. Sources tell ESPN Mavericks freed up Gates for Nick Nurse's staff to take a significant step up in the role. In addition to that, Kyle Neubeck put out a piece today. He says, get to know Brian Gates, the Sixers' newest assistant coach, who once coached a team called the Hickory Nuts to a 23-0 record, man. Hey, you're out here coaching the Nuts to a 23-0 record. I like this guy already. Look at Mike Bridges right there, man. I like this guy. So shout out to Brian Gates. And here is an updated list of the Sixers coaching staff: Nick Nurse, Bobby Jackson, Rico Hines, and Brian Gates. What do you think about that staff? Let me know down below. But all right, let's get into the James Harden stuff. It is inevitable. And just a little while ago, he goes on Instagram and he puts this on his story. He says, been comfortable for so long. It's time to get uncomfortable. What does that mean? What do you think that means? Because, hey, the Sixers might try to get uncomfortable too. Maybe two can play at this game, James. Maybe two can play. This whole offseason has been uncomfortable. It's been rough, man. A lot of rough patches. People wandering their minds going crazy. What's going to happen with this team? They're still trying to contend. They brought in a top coach. They want to get back to the moment, man, but will you be a part of it? So anyway, let's talk about what then happened yesterday, because this is kind of a follow-up, right? There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of reports and rumors, and Jake Fischer put out a piece yesterday on Yahoo Sports to kind of just give an update on the situation, which sparked a lot of attention. He says that James Harden is expected at this point to report to Philadelphia's training camp. If he is not traded, James Harden is expected to show up to Philadelphia. Is that a good idea? To be honest, I don't know. because we saw what happened a couple years ago with Ben Simmons showing up to training camp, just, wandering around, just lollygagging, not trying, phone in the pocket, according to sources, right? And then got kicked out of practice so he didn't have to do the interview. So do we want another Harden situation, right, where he's showing up in maybe a fat suit, or maybe he's coming and just, doing his thing, not listening to Nick Nurse or whatever? I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, the players seem to have good connections still, but I don't know. This situation is kind of boiled over. You heard Daryl Morey the other day on the radio. He said, I respect James as one of the greatest players, but, he wants to be traded. And that's one of his old good best friends saying that. So I don't know, man. But anyway, in Jake Fischer's piece, he says, in addition, though, quote, you can cause far more headaches for the organization you're trying to leave by showing up as opposed to staying home. So, I mean, that's a very interesting quote there. He's kind of saying, if James Harden comes back, then he's stirring the pot a little bit, then it gets chaotic because, if things then get even worse, then what do you do? Right? You have a new coach. You're trying to establish this new system and really, concrete things in, right? You're really trying to solidify what this team's identity is going to be. And if you have a half in, half out James Harden, that's not really a good idea. So I want to pull up the article from Jake Fischer, and I want to highlight here one paragraph that I think is very interesting. So here's what Jake Fischer had to say, more elaborating on the situation. He says, let's be clear. No matter the Sixers' wishes, Harden still intends to play for the Clippers during the 23-24 season. Since the beginning of this subplot, Harden and his representation opted in to pinpoint LA as his next destination and have maintained a confidence that he will ultimately join the Clippers. There's been no substantial trade convo for Philly regarding Harden and any other team, sources said, as rival front offices have been briefed on Harden's unwavering focus on the Clippers and the Clippers alone. The Sixers have held talks with other teams and have established their high asking price for the league's assist leader. So what this is saying here is other teams are like, it's kind of like the Dame situation. He wants to go here. He's focused there. We're not even going to get in the convo. And that makes it even harder for you to get traded, James. So you want to get uncomfortable? You want to get scrappy? You want to get in the mud, James? Let's go. Let's go. It's about to get dirty out here, man. This is going to be a tough game for you to play. And I'll tell you why in just a second, man. But overall, with this whole James Harden thing, man, it is, again, feeling like a Ben Simmons part 2 situation. Now, again, they're obviously different for different reasons, but you don't want this drama on your team. So at one point, I'm almost like, just trade him, get what you can, and then trade Tobias, clear up cap space. But at the same time, if there's just a little sliver of hope that you can work this thing out, again, you still were very close. And having a competent coach like Nick Nurse, could potentially put this team, up to another wavelength, right? But you don't know. You don't know. And the thing that ultimately drives me back to saying, man, this is not going to work is just seeing the history of James Harden and also seeing a history of Daryl Morey, who's not going to budge, right? What did he say the other day? He said, I want a star back or I want assets to go get another star. Daryl Morey does not want to tank this year and wait for 24. To me, it kind of seems like the more feasible, more realistic option at this point, but that is not number one priority on Daryl Morey's list. He wants to get a star and compete now. He's still looking forward to the future, like he talked about with the cap flexibility. But man, I mean, this is going to be a sticky situation. And my ultimate thoughts, that the thing that's really ticking me off, because obviously, again, this is just back and forth every day. The thing that's really getting me is more of an issue with the league right now. And I think the fans out there who say, oh, a guy wants to go to LA. Oh, James Harden has been pushing his way to LA. He will end up in LA. Why? Why even have contracts anymore, man? All right, let me sign a 6-year deal with the Sacramento Kings. And then after 1 year, I'm unhappy. You know what? Let me go to my job and tell them I'm unhappy and I want to be forced to work at the rival company. What are they going to say to me? Right? Oh, I want to go to the Clippers now and I want them to pay me. No offense, but who do you think you are? James or Dame or anybody else? I get it. It's a star-driven league. Guys have a lot more power. But what happened to the day of just suck it up, go back and figure it out? You know what I mean? That's the thing. And then all these fans out there oh, he's going to end up with LA. The Sixers should just trade him and get scraps back. Get back Robert Covington and we're good. Why? That doesn't make the team better. Right now, I think Daryl Morey's doing what he has to do. He's standing on his ground. Same thing he did with the Ben Simmons situation. Hopefully he can get a better trade package. But, you know, you look at these reasons, as I said here on Twitter, right? Morey said what he wants. The Clippers do not want to give up anything. They don't want to give up Terrence Mann to get James Harden. That shows you how much they really value him and whether they're willing to pay him in the future. And at the end of the day, this is different from the Simmons situation because Harden has to go out and he has to earn another contract. And there was a piece put out today from Zach Lowe, NBA Insider, where he talked about this special clause in the contracts and all that, where if a guy's going into his last year and, he kind of like tries to force his way out, essentially, he's going to get screwed in free agency. So all this is kind of pointing back to the fact that if James wants more money, if he wants that 3-4 year contract, he's going to have to come back and earn it the hard way. And that's just where it's at. I commend James for taking a pay cut last year, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, Sixers did not reach their goals. They can't give you the contract. You will still be a valuable asset to this team. But right now, the way that things are looking, and, James Harden took everything out of his social media bios, he's not coming back to Philly. And right now, it's just a very stuck situation. Let me ask you, are the Sixers stuck? Are they stuck? Will any of this get resolved in the next couple months? Or are they going to have to decide whether to tell them to stay home from training camp or show up and suck it up? What do you guys think? Let me know all your thoughts down below. I am going on vacation this next week, so he'll probably end up getting traded while I'm gone. That's just the luck of it. But nonetheless, man, give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.